So we're going to do this. Afshin Rattansi is the host of Going Underground and I think it's safe to say he's an expert on Julian Assange. So I'm going to sit down with him and ask him about Assange right now and whether he is actually a political prisoner.
I mean, the UN Human Rights panel that looked into this said he definitely was. Messages can be smuggled out, as it were, because legal people are allowed in, whilst no journalists are allowed to speak to him. And the government here obviously says he'll immediately be arrested. So I do have some information from sources close to him, talking about your midterms, actually, saying that this raises the likelihood of any U.S. extradition of Assange from London. Make that of what you may, but that's what's coming out of Julian Assange's camp tonight.
On the part of the Democrats who just won the House of Representatives, or would it be on the part of the Republicans in the Trump administration?
That's a very good question, because I initially thought, you know, President Obama famously was alleged to have been involved in the downing, not the downing as it were, but the forcible landing of the Bolivian president's plane in Vienna back in 2013, when they were trying to get Edward Snowden, who was being aided by Assange. Snowden, of course, now in Moscow. But I think they are referring to the Republicans, because after all, the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, did famously get up when he was head of the CIA after being appointed to that position by Trump, and said the WikiLeaks was a non-state hostile intelligence service often abetted by state actors like Russia. So obviously WikiLeaks thinking somehow that a Republican well, it could be a loss or a gain, depending on who you hear in your town, certainly does increase the likelihood of his extradition.
It does make you wonder, right, what really is going on? Because we get these reports this week that apparently somebody tried to break in to the embassy, and, you know, we don't know if that has been, you know, truly confirmed yet as to what really happened there. But, I mean, should Julian Assange consider his life right now, fear for his own safety?
As far as I understand it, they're calling it a security incident. There were some lurid headlines of it being an attempted break-in, even attempted kidnapping, some people were saying. I think the major thing to look at when it comes to Julian Assange now, we must remember this is a man that gave us the collateral murder videos from Iraq, showing the killing of 18 people, that gave us the involvement by the Hillary Clinton campaign in trying to undermine Bernie Sanders, who I understand has taken Vermont in the midterms. The things that he did to assault power, or speak truth to power, as people say. The point is, the Ecuadorian government, which threw out a CIA base, an American base in Manta Bay that had been there for years, involved against Cuba back in the 60s, Manta Base may yet host U.S. troops again under the new president, Lenin Moreno. Could that be in exchange for Assange? I think that's what's worrying people. So that's how far Julian Assange is considering himself, his own safety.
So does that mean with Correa gone, or Correa as we would say over here, that he's more likely to somehow end up extradited?
Very much so, as seen by supporters of WikiLeaks. The fact is, Lenin Moreno's government has been the one that's responsible for the cutting off of his internet. We don't know what Julian Assange might want to be leaking right now from whistleblowers in the United States. It may be true that Obama, of course, jailed, prosecuted more whistleblowers than any prior president, and that's not something that Donald Trump has sought to do. But the fact is that Ecuador has, as it has tried to mend relations with Washington, has cut off his internet, has been responsible for not helping Julian Assange's welfare. And I've got to say, I was in leaks to the Guardian newspaper, a British newspaper that used to be friends with Assange and now attacks Julian Assange. I was named in one of the documents because all people who went in and out of the embassy, from fashion designer Vivienne Westwood to Pamela Anderson and my good self, somehow we were clocked in and clocked out just for going to see him. Where were those leaks from? Could those also be part of the Ecuadorian government's strategy in trying to retain better relations with Washington?
I get a feeling they probably spent more time clocking in Pamela Anderson than they did you, but I think that's not so much a news question as it is a different kind of question. Hey, let me finish with this. I'm a journalist. I've spent my life, decades, gathering news, disseminating news, writing news. And for me, it's almost a point of pride that somebody like Julian Assange should be at least given a fair shot, if not protected, because he is, after all, an investigative journalist, as we heard just moments ago in that piece of sound that we ran from his mother. So here's my question. Does it frustrate you as much as it does me that the journalistic community worldwide, and especially that here in the United States, that often boasts about journalistic independence, is not talking more about his plight?
Absolutely. Monday is the anniversary of the day that the Pulitzer Prize winner Sy Hersh broke the story of the My Lai massacre in Vietnam. And it's something that Sy often says, he said it on this network, the state of journalism today and the fact that people aren't showing solidarity with whistleblowers who, after all, as all journalists know, we depend on whistleblowers, because that's how we get the information past the press releases and the documents being handed out to us at press conferences and corporate press conferences or government press conferences.
Afshin Rattansi, I'll tell you what, wonderful conversation. So glad you were able to share some of your wisdom and experience with us on this incredible story, and hope to talk to you again very soon.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.
Now, there are concerns for the safety of Julian Assange after his legal team claim that someone tried to break into the Ecuadorian embassy in London. The whistleblower hasn't left the building since 2012 when he sought refuge there, fearing extradition to the US. Let's get more details now from Anastasia Chalkin, who's in London for us. Nastia, good afternoon. What more then do we know about what happened?
Well, Andrew, it seems that we have quite a curious incident involving Julian Assange on our hands here. According to reports citing the WikiLeaks founder's legal team, it's being claimed that quite recently Assange had experienced an attempted break-in inside the Ecuadorian embassy here in London, just behind me, where, of course, he has been holed up now for over 6 years. And according to these reports that cite his team, what allegedly happened was Assange had experienced an attempted intruder tried to break in through one of the windows in front of the building. And what stopped that intruder allegedly, or at least made Assange aware of him, was a booby trap that Assange has set up using a fire hydrant. Now, any more details or information about what happened next, who this person might have been, or any details on this really continue to remain a mystery. So that's all that we know so far. Now, we had contacted the Metropolitan Police to see if they had anything to say on this, and they said they have no reports of such an attempted break-in. And we also tried to speak to officials inside this embassy. They told us over the phone that the ambassador is not currently in place, so they're not charged with the authority to make comments on this matter. But supporters of Julian Assange have made it clear that their concerns about his security are quite high. This is what his mother had said quite recently.
The life of my son, journalist Julian Assange, is in immediate and critical danger. The former president of Ecuador, Rafael Correa, publicly warned that when US Vice President Mike Pence recently visited Ecuador, a deal was done to hand Julian over to the US.
Well, if you can see behind me, the building is now currently covered with scaffolding. This also raising concerns about whether or not this could be somehow affecting the security camera operations that are that have up until now been in place. So lots of questions about coming from Assange's supporters now about whether or not he's actually safe being inside the embassy. All of this even more so highlighted by the fact that recently Assange has had quite a rocky relationship with Ecuadorian officials. If you remember, his access to the internet as well as other communications and visitors had been restricted by Ecuadorian officials who were not happy with him expressing his opinions on political issues around the world. That restriction was later partially lifted in exchange for certain rules that Julian Assange had to follow that officials were asking of him to follow, which he was not quite happy doing whatsoever. So really, exactly where this whole saga is going to be heading next could really be anyone's guess.
OK, thanks, Nastia. Anastasia Chalkner there for us in London.
Yeah, the ultimate legal case, public legal case, or one of the ultimate ones, is Julian Assange.
Oh, yeah.
That's a weird
He
one.
hasn't seen sunlight in months.
Yeah.
No internet access.
No internet access.
Yeah,
They shut
he's
off
in the
his
embassy.
internet.
Yeah, and they're trying to kick him out now, Ecuador.
But where's he going to go?
If he goes, he's gonna. They want him. What? Sweden? They want him. They want him in Britain. And I don't think there've been charges filed against him here yet, technically. But I'm sure they want his head in a platter.
But what they want him for is so preposterous. It's so not
It's like
what they actually want him for.
Right. It's just like Al Capone.
Yeah.
It's like
right.
yeah,
tax evasion
yeah.
instead of being a mobster.
Right.
Yeah, but it's interesting because I would think that someone like Trump, who is such a conspiracy-minded person, would actually like Julian Assange. Because I'm sure there's been I don't know what he's ever said in the past, but
I think he was
gotta
anti.
He was anti-WikiLeaks from the start?
No, but he said things about Julian Assange that were anti. Is my understanding. Yeah.
That's
Because there was something Julian Assange tweeted. My friend Cassandra Fairbanks, she's a big supporter of him, and she's like, "Well, there goes the idea of clemency or pardon."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
that Trump tweeted or
no,
Julian
Julian,
Assange
I
tweeted?
think. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, look, he's a virtual prisoner.
Yeah, it's like, where's that end?
It's not going to end well.
He can get visitors, though.
No, I don't. Can
Pamela
he?
Anderson.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
they
yeah.
were
But they may have
banging it
taken that
out.
away.
Ooh,
They may have
yeah.
taken that away.
I wonder how long they could stay there.
It's been years.
Years.
It's been years.
Years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be in one building,
Yeah, and he doesn't go outside anymore.
he can't.
They won't let him.
I don't think he ever could.
Went on the balcony. Remember?
Okay. Now I know he doesn't have sunlight. That I'm positive.
That's terrible.
Yep.
Do they give him vitamin D at least?
No. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, he's awfully pale to begin with.
But if you don't get vitamin D, like you can get really sick.
Well, that's what they do in North Korea. Their skin starts falling off their.
He's been there since June 19th of 2012 when he entered the the embassy.
Fuck. That's 6 years.
Whoa.
Fuck.
Whoa.
Jesus Christ. How much?
Almost 6.5 years. June.
How much solitaire can you play?
And you don't even have internet anymore. He hasn't had internet for how many months?
Trying
It's
to
been.
find out. I'm looking at timeline to see when.
I want to say it's been about 4 or 5 months.
It's been a while.
I didn't
think
know
it
it was
more
that
than
long.
Yeah.
I didn't know he'd been in there that
March
long.
27th, they were suspended
Fuck,
for
that's
the
it's
second
almost-
time
8 months.
For the second time.
since October 2016.
Fuck. Who the hell's over at WikiLeaks still running shit?
Yeah, right. That's the intern.
Who's hanging in there, you know? God. That's crazy. Like, how does that one play out? I mean, they're really what they're doing for sure when we talked about punishment being a deterrent in certain situations. That is absolutely a deterrent.
Oh, they're making an example of him for
To being a
whistleblowers.
leaker.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Whereas Chelsea Manning's out now.
She just had her surgery.
What surgery, though?
Her transgender. She got yeah.
That
she,
one?
There, she tweeted out,
Woo!
"I have a vagina."
Okay. Yeah.
So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
She's out.
She's out.
She's out hobnobbing and maybe using that thing.
I met her. She came to an event. She was
Yeah?
very nice. Very
I'm
short.
sure. But she's out.
She's out. She's been out for a long. Obama pardoned her or commuted
Yeah.
her sentence.
He's locked away forever in the embassy. And then there's Snowden, who's also hiding
Right.
in Russia.
Right.
What?
And actually, a lot of these. Yeah. There's Chelsea.
Holla. After almost a decade of fighting, through prison, the courts, a hunger strike, and through the insurance company, I finally got surgery this week.
Not LASIK, apparently.
Oh, you son of a bitch. Just wearing glasses, folks. Yeah,
those
like
are Milhouse
Snowden
glasses.
he's going to be in Russia probably forever.
You know, and a lot of these farmers from South Africa, that's where they're going. Putin-
Russia?
Yeah. Putin's letting them in.
Really?
Yeah, so they better learn how to write those R's backward pretty quick.
Oh, right. They got weird R's.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you have to learn the whole language and just the weird R's. Russians got a lot of weird ones.
We do. We got, yeah, I'm barely literate in Russian.
The letters look fake,
All letters are fake.
but they look like alien language. You know, it looks like somebody writing something that was from some piece of metal from a spaceship. You know. Like Snowden he's fucked too, right? I mean, he can't even be public in Russia. He's
I
he's
think
hiding.
I'm not sure about him. I know Assange. I haven't been following Snowden. He's deep under.
I mean, they must know where he is, though. I mean, there's no way the intelligence community doesn't have a fucking full line on exactly where that guy is at all
That
times.
is the big question. Do they know all this stuff, or are they incompetent? And there's examples of both directions.
Yeah, I've got to think they know where Snowden is. I can't.
Well,
think
I
they
mean,
could hide
yeah,
him
Glenn
for this.
Greenwald talks to him all the time. Glenn Greenwald's
he?
in Brazil. Yeah, that was how Greenwald kind of made his name, I think. Who's also a great lefty who gets it a lot.
Yeah, it's just, how does that guy go on? Like, is he just in hiding, getting his restaurants, like sneaking in? Like, where does he
Groucho
go?
Marx glasses.
How does he get around?
Yeah, I don't know. And where's he getting his money from? He's got to pay for food.
Right. What does he do for food?
Yeah, a lot of borscht.
Fuck.
I just looked them up. Google's like kind of broken. Here's an example of it. It says, when did he die? And then it just highlights a date. And it doesn't say he's not dead.
It says Snowden flew to Hong Kong, where he was staying.
No, but that was part of his whole trip.
Yeah.
He had to go through. He did this whole journey through a bunch of countries.
Yeah.
It's real weird. It's just weird.
I think they tacked him to Thailand or something at some point.
It is weird. It's like, is that guy that's him forever? That's what he does?
Who's Snowden?
Yeah, I mean, he just has to hide.
I think so. Or maybe he's safe in Russia and Putin's having him there as a fuck you to us.
Yeah, I mean, it must have something to do with it, that Putin's deciding to do this.
Yeah, Putin wouldn't do it unless it's some advantage to him.
Yeah, it's just strange. It's strange that these things are just these floating, like like little chapters to these stories that are just, we all know about them, but they don't get resolved.
Well, right. There's yeah.
Yeah, they're just floating out there.
And it's just this is why I talk about North Korea all the time. Since I've been there, everyone's still there. Everyone I met. And think about 6 years Assange has been in that one building. It's so, and all the people in jail also who've been in jail for 6 years. Just, we can't wrap our heads around that. 6 fucking years. Think about where you were 6 years ago. I'm thinking of where I was 6 years ago.
Well, not just that, 6 years and things are deteriorating.
Right.
They want him out of the embassy. He's got nowhere to go. If he leaves, he gets arrested. He doesn't have any internet.
Yeah.
Can't see sunlight.
Knowing that the most powerful people in the world were doing everything they can to fucking put you in jail for life, and you kind of already are in a sense. I can't see. Julian Assange is never in the rest of his life probably going to be able to take a jog around a park, ever.
No, never.
Or walk a dog.
Yeah, it's over.
It's scary. And the thing is, a lot of the shit almost all the shit that he put out is true.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's crazy. It's he's doing what journalists should be doing instead of getting up in the press corps and just pitching a fit.
Yeah, but there's real repercussions for doing what he did, and that's what they're letting us know.
Yeah.
And they're letting us know it
warning.
doesn't matter what the law is. What are you getting him for? Secret sex or surprise sex? Yeah. What?
Right.
Snowden's running his Twitter account says he's the president of something called Freedom of Press, which is a website and Twitter account also of the same name, and they tweeted this out a couple of days ago. That's a story I never heard of.
It says in the latest case in the Trump administration's crackdown on leaks, Natalie Edwards, U.S. Treasury employee, was arrested and charged with giving suspicious bank records involving Trump campaign associates Paul Manafort and Rick Gates to a news outlet. In the legal complaint, the Justice Department cited word-for-word conversations she allegedly had with a reporter over an encrypted messaging app. The government claimed it got a hold of her phone and with it, her encrypted messages with a reporter. Now she faces prison time.
Wow.
Dude.
Just saying, all reporters should be using apps that make all their messages disappear.
Yeah, like Signal and
why aren't
WhatsApp.
they? Yeah. That's what this website.
Yeah, but even then, someone can take screenshots.
No, I think some of them you can't. It's disabled automatically.
Really?
Yeah, but you can take a picture of your phone with another phone, obviously. But yeah.
Signal.
Yeah. My friend knows more than anything I know about internet security, he used Signal. My friend Perry.
And Signal and Secure Drop. And so what is Signal? What do you do with Signal?
Basically, it's encrypted. So if you send messages to me, you could set it to vanish at a certain time, and I can't do a screenshot.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. And it's not hackable, apparently. It's the best one.